Okay, well, this is the Riley County Veterans Historical History Project, and today is Wednesday, October the 1st, 2003. Interviewing is taking place at the Riley County Courthouse Plaza on 4th Street in Manhattan. And the World War II veteran we have today is Edna Dailey Bryant. And she lives at 1213 Bertrand Street here in Manhattan. My name is John Lindholm, and I'll be doing the interview, and Kent Smith is operating the recording equipment. Edna, would you please tell us your name, rank, serial number, and your branch of service?
Edna Dailey Bryant. I was in the Marine Corps, Women's Reserve. My serial number was 773414. Did that get all of it, or I missed something?
Your rank when
Oh,
you're
corporal.
Corporal there. Okay. You were born December 22nd, 2000, and that was where?
Not 2000.
200. 1920.
1920.
Okay, 12, 22, 20. Okay, here in Manhattan, Kansas, and I assume you went to school in here in Manhattan.
From the 7th grade on, that's what I mean, from the 2nd grade on. I was here until I was almost 3. My dad was in school at the college after being discharged from the Army. And when he graduated in 23, we moved on, and he taught in Agenda, Kansas for a couple of years. Then he worked in Wichita for a year, and then to Garden City a year. And then he got an opportunity to come here again, and we came back when I was 7 in 2nd grade, almost 7.
Mm-hmm. So you stayed here and went through the Manhattan school system?
From there on, yes.
Through high school? And when did you graduate from high school?
38.
38, huh? And you say your dad was in the Army?
Yeah, he was in the Army.
So how long was he in the service?
I really don't know. He volunteered. He received his draft notices when he was in France.
In World War I?
That he'd better report. And then after he was discharged, and I don't have the date on that, he and my mother were married, and eventually I came along.
Okay, so they got married, and then he came back to school, is that right? And then he graduated or got some training?
Electrical engineering.
Okay, and how many siblings do you have?
Excuse me?
Siblings? Do you have any sisters and brothers?
I have one brother. I had one brother.
Uh-huh.
He died in 1980.
Was he in the service too or not?
Yes, he went in 46. I don't have his dates of service, but it was after the main part of the war.
Was that the Army or the?
He was in the Army.
Army,
He was 6 years younger than I am.
So you said you graduated from high school, and then what did you do between then and when you went into service?
I went to college.
At Kansas
I got my
State.
degree at Kansas State in 42.
What area?
Home ec and art.
Home ec and arts. So you were at K-State on December the 7th in 41, right?
Yeah. Well, I was home. It was a Sunday, and we were listening to the radio, not the TV, and the news came over. Everybody was upset and shocked.
Okay, so you graduated in 42, you went into service in 44, so you had 2 years there of what kind of experience?
Well, I worked for 2 months at Emery Bird Thayer's and decided that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And a month into that work, we started training at a sheet metal school, And within a month, we were placed out at North American, and I worked there for the 2 years.
This is in Kansas City, Kansas, is that right?
Yeah, I lived in Kansas City, Missouri, and came over on various means of transportation.
So you're a sheet metal worker on what airplane?
B-24. Oh, excuse me, B-25.
B-25.
I was listening to Era's tape.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
you did that.
I was in final assembly.
So you weren't drafted, of course. So why did you
No.
decide to get out doing that and get into service?
Well, seemed like everybody was doing something towards the war effort. And I come from a long line of fighters and mixed with a long line of Mennonites. And so I had forebears in the Revolutionary War and in the Civil War. And Dad was in the war, and several uncles, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. Besides, I liked the Marine Corps uniform.
On the men or on yourself?
On the women.
Okay, so this was April '44. Where did you report for duty then?
Camp Lejeune.
Where's that?
It's in North Carolina.
Okay. And so you reported there in April, is that right?
Actually, in May.
May.
It was about a month delay in orders, and they did well by us. They sent us on the train in a compartment. We shared a compartment, and arrived in style at Camp Lejeune, but we didn't leave it that way.
Oh. What did you do at Camp Lejeune?
We had our basic training.
Okay. And that was the same for women as it is for the men, or not?
Our obstacle course was not as serious. We had one, and I managed to pass it, so you know it wasn't too bad. But but nothing like what the men went through. We did a lot of marching, but not with full packs and stuff.
Okay. Then,
It's changed a lot for the women now.
Now then, while there, you took some qualification tests to see where you're going, or not?
No. I don't remember tests. I'm sure there were things as we went along on protocol and history and all that sort of thing that we studied. But anyway, you got out of boot camp and you, of course you had your history, what you'd done before.
Yeah.
And they knew I'd been in the aircraft working, and so I was sent to aviation machinist school in Norman.
Oklahoma.
But our trip there was the interesting part.
Okay.
We shipped out in cattle cars. You remember pictures of cattle cars from World War I?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we traveled from Lejeune to Norman, Oklahoma in.
And those were essentially stock cars, and they had bunks 3 high or 4 high. And
3 high, and slatted sides. The cinders blew in. It was July. We spent the night in the yards at Oklahoma City.
So you're, what, 2 days going from?
You know, I don't remember. It had to be at least 2 days, possibly 3.
Did you stop to somewhere along the way to eat, or did they have food for you?
I don't remember food. I suppose we got somehow. That isn't one of my memories.
Oh, okay, so you arrived in Norman on in what month then? You remember?
It would have been July.
July.
I have a letter I wrote my brother telling about my arrival, and that was dated July 14th.
Okay.
So I'm sure we'd been there for nearly 2 weeks probably by that time.
Okay, and what did you do? You went to machinist school.
Yeah. Did a lot of marching,
Yeah.
and the school was very interesting. It, everything from repairing fabric wing covers to the magnetos and all the workings of the engine and all that sort of thing.
So you were able to tear a car or Jeep engine
They
down?
work a
or
little
something?
differently. But
And you were there how long then?
till December.
Mm-hmm.
We left there. We had a 2-week delay en route, which let us come home for Christmas. And then reported to El Toro on January 1st.
El Toro is in California.
In California.
Mm-hmm. And what unit were you assigned to there? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Well, it's AWRS 9, 9th Marine Corps Station.
Mm-hmm.
And what were your duties there?
Well, to begin with, I don't think they knew what to do with us.
How many were you? Waves were you? No, you weren't waves. You were
Marine Corps.
Marine.
Marine.
What do you call not waves?
WRs.
WRs. Okay.
Women Reserves.
Okay. How many of you were sent there?
Oh, a full platoon, I would say about 22, 23, something like that. And so after a few days, we were divided up. Some of us went on driving trucks and heavy machinery and that sort of thing. Others went to mess duty. We were put on the line, the flight line, running and repairing the communications machines, the teletalks. And we called them squawk boxes. And so we installed those, kept them in order, went out and repaired them when it was necessary. Usually it was because the colonel had pulled his drawer out too far and it got unplugged. So you went in and plugged it in and left. Yeah.
And so you were there until you get the rest of your time in the service, is that right?
Rest of the time.
Mm-hmm. And so in April of 1946 is when you got out of service?
It was later than that when we got out, I think. Just let me check here.
Okay.
Yeah, April 3rd.
Okay. And you
Yeah,
were
it was-
discharged there or
Yeah.
sent back to close to home?
There, that's right.
And so then they sent you back to Manhattan, Kansas, did they?
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Well, then I resumed life.
You mean a civilian life or normal
Civilian
life?
life. Yeah, I went back to school on the GI Bill, working towards my master's, which I didn't get. I needed 6 more hours in the thesis to finish up.
Oh.
So.
And why didn't you finish it up?
Well, 3 children got to be a bit much, you know.
Oh, well, when did you get married in the process somewhere?
Oh, yeah,
didn't
there
you?
was a marriage that took place. That was in December of 46.
December 46.
Mm-hmm.
And so first child came along in 47 or 48?
48.
Uh-huh.
Then
And-
one in, oh boy, 51 and one in 56.
Okay. And your husband was in school too, or not?
He was for part of the time, and then he joined the police force in Manhattan here.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
you're-
he was called back for the Korean conflict.
Yeah.
And
Did you and the family go with him to your various places?
not immediately. Shortly before he was to be dismissed, we went. He picked us up and we went back east.
Where was this? Where did you go?
Cherry Point, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we had a 3-month-old at that time.
Mm-hmm.
along with the two older girls.
Then after he got dismissed after the Korean called up, you came back to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And he went back to work for the police department.
No, he went out to Fort Riley.
Went out to Fort Riley, and you were a housewife, taking care of 3 children, and decided to go back and get a master's degree. Is that the sequence?
Well, yeah, I had started before that, but by the time there were 3 children, it seemed like wasn't as important as it had been.
Okay. Where are your 3 children now?
One's in Washington State. She's an occupational therapist and travels to different schools in the area. Susan is here in town. She's in special education and teaches learning disabled at Ogden. And Kathy, our middle child, is at Houston, Texas, and she works for the city.
Okay, now have you and Ira done some traveling after he retired then?
Yes, we go visit our kids every once in a while.
When did he retire, you remember?
He retired in '78.
And so you've done traveling besides visiting kids or not?
Besides the kids,
Yeah.
well, we like to see everything on the way going and coming back, so we take a different route each time.
And what have you done now since your children have all flown the coop?
Oh, I was afraid you'd ask that. I never can think of what I've done, but a lot of church work, volunteer work, posters. Right now we're working on that jewelry sale that's coming up.
For what?
For UMW.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, United Methodist Women.
I understood what it was for, but we need to let the people on the tape know where you're coming from.
People contribute their old jewelry, and then we refurbish it and resell it.
So you spend quite a little bit of time working with things at the church, and
I'm the repair person.
For the UMW.
Yeah, for the jewelry.
Yeah.
Reglue and rewire and so forth.
Well, with your background with engine and all this stuff, you maybe ought to join the Tuesday morning gang down there and help repair around the church.
I don't think I'd be much help anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's you have any special highlights of your
Well,
last?
I mentioned that one, traveling in the cattle cars.
Yeah.
That was pretty special. Then there was a time I didn't salute an officer.
Oh.
Oh boy. A friend and I were in Laguna Beach, California, and we were coming down this hill, and approaching us was a young second lieutenant with his girlfriend, and his arms were loaded with packages. And we looked at each other and looked at him, and we started grinning. If you're supposed to salute an officer, and he has to return your salute. There was no way he could return a salute. So we just passed him grinning and didn't bother.
Did they call you up then or not?
No,
You just went
no.
on?
He was so relieved that he didn't have to drop packages. Of course, his girlfriend may have wondered why he was getting all these smiles.
And so there's nothing real outstanding in the years since you got out of the service that you would like to mention?
Well, I have 4 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Oh, well,
So that's somebody's accomplishment, not mine. And Era and I celebrated our 50th anniversary 6 years ago, I guess. And we're just poking along now.
okay, well, It's been nice to have you come in and give us your bio data for us, Edna, and it's very seldom we get a couple, both of them being Marines, reporting to us. So,
Yes, we didn't meet until after we were out.
yeah. So somebody maybe can pull up both tapes and compare stories with the two of you.
To see if it match.
Okay, well, it's, thanks for coming in then, and
Thank you for having me.
and we hope you have enjoyed it and had a good experience in the service and since then.
Yes.